All right, let's go.
Let's see, this. Y'all leading the way.
Okay.
Can you put that on silent, please? Thank you.
Bye. All right, we good. We good. Let's go. Stand set. Here we go. You can. All right. So you can step up. All right.
Shoot it.
Shoot it. Let's start. All right. What's up, world? What's up? How we doing? We're here. We're live today in Sky's hometown, Atlanta. Wow. That was impressive. Just like this driving out here.
Yeah, in front of a live studio audience. Everybody say, hey. Hey. That is terrible.
Let's have some excitement. So who are we? We're Shea Butter FC,
A podcast featuring two Black women's perspectives on soccer, football, and everything in between.
content with soul and season of moisturize your skin
And lay your edges.
and deepen your love for all these Black women.
So what are we going to do today?
We have some special guests with us to talk about the culture as far as soccer goes in the city of Atlanta. So are we gonna do intros? We're gonna let people introduce themselves.
Yeah, people can introduce themselves.
All right, so I'm just gonna start next to me.
Okay.
All right. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
Thank you, madam. I am Grego, one of the co-founders of the Culture Soccer Podcast, the soccer podcast for us, by us. We are based here in Atlanta. You know, we're little big bros and everything. Here with the squad, and we're gonna have a good time.
And I am known as Coach Tony, and I am one of the
Lamont.
See, you already started. No, but sometimes I am referred to as Lamont on Twitter or X, whatever we call them these days. And I am one of the, personalities within the culture. That's right.
Okay. All right. And next to Coach Tony, we have
Curtis, co-founder of Footy Mob and all around bone be boned.
Okay. $10 worth. Right. And last but certainly not least,
I am Vera Ziegler, Atlanta native, one of the associates and helpers for the culture. I come in when they need me and always around support and listening. And also known as the TIFO Queen.
Okay, Tifo Queen.
Also, she is full Atlanta. Like if you have a visual later,
Down to the
Can't
down to the shoes.
Can't get more ATL.
Right. Every piece of
we
clothing.
got full day, but we also got a couple of extra area codes.
Okay, I feel you.
What area code is locked on you?
Listen,
Originally, it was 404.
Yeah.
And then too many of y'all started moving in.
Exactly.
That's not gonna work.
When y'all showed up,
Yep.
that's when they said, "Oh, let's put some sevens in." That's
This is not my argument. So that's fine. I ain't hungry.
Are you in the perimeter or are you out the perimeter?
See, again,
If you grew up in the 90s, you know that you had to become doing stuff inside the perimeter, even though you might have lived right on the other side. So the metro was part of it. So I took programs here.
thank you.
Okay.
Had to.
I got your back here. Don't worry.
All right. Y'all have to learn something about this. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. So I thank everybody for their time. I want to be mindful of that. So the very first question is hopefully an easy one. How did you get into the sport of soccer? We'll start at the time to turn the opposite direction. So Vera, how did you get into the sport of soccer?
So I got into it a little bit through high school. So I naturally was a basketball player. And it was one of those things where I ain't like running for no reason. So coach was like, hey, if y'all gonna do some other sports or you're gonna come run these hills. So at the time at our school out in La Colonia, we had a soccer team. So I ended up being the goalie and learn about the sport, really fell in love with it. And it kind of elevated. My brother ended up going to Furman on basketball scholarship. And there was one evening we were going up to see him and the family, and the basketball team, they practice, or they lift weights right after the soccer team. So we meet him over at the gym, and he's talking to somebody outside, and we walk up, and he's like, "Yeah, this is Clint." It happened to be Clint Dempsey. So 2 years later, so 2 years later, we watched him score the first American goal on European soil.
Wow.
And it just kind of really took off my love and watching the sport more intently from there, following his career, and that's kind of how I really got into it. So, soccer.
Yeah, you cheer for West Ham?
No, I never. I ain't worried nobody colors.
Ain't no censure.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Mine starts at 2006 World Cup. Had a guy I worked with who took all of his league time and went to Germany for it. Like, oh, this man do this. What's so great about this that he would do this? I was like, let me watch and see if this is worth it. And looked. It's like, wait, how often do they do this? Every year? They doing it this fall? When are they doing this again? And started watching, picked a Premier League team and said, whoever wins the EPL this year, I'm their fan.
Huh.
Manchester United.
Huh.
I caught the tail end of that Sir Alex Ferguson era. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm always winning. I can't lose.
Ooh, you got sound familiar.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing.
Whole lot of foreshadowing.
Trash.
Set up,
All the trash.
set up.
All the trash.
Because every time, and then it was like, is this what it feels like to be a Chelsea fan?
Wow.
Wow. Anybody did that? Anybody did that?
I know yesterday was long.
Don't do that. We not bring up all stuff.
Was it 24 hours?
I like that. So whoever finished first. Yeah, that seems like set up for some hard day, but I respect that. You stuck with it. Coach.
Mine actually dates back to the 80s. It wasn't really cool yet. And part of it is, growing up here in Atlanta, I was following my older brother. My brother's 7 years older than me. And if you know anything about Atlanta history, the Atlanta child murders really had a huge impact about after school activities. And so my parents were actually working here at Morehouse and Spelman, area. And obviously them being away from home, they want to make sure that me and my brother had something to do. So we played whatever sport was in season. And we were also fortunate enough that here in the can attest to this though, in South DeKalb area, there's a huge black culture, definitely a Caribbean culture. There's a lot of people playing soccer. So I started my whole soccer interest playing in South DeKalb YMCA. And I was fortunate enough to play with like a lot of other kids that looked like me at the time. This is at the even younger than my daughter right now. It's 5, 6 years old playing the game. But I really didn't become obsessed with the game until I got to college. Again, I played with a little small school in Washington, D.C.
Lord,
the Mecca, the real HU, Howard University.
Wow, here we go.
Put some respect.
I'm here because of the other one.
No, but I did fall in love though, because again, I just kind of, you were saying, I was more basketball. But then when I got to college and being, immersed in soccer 24/7, because when you get to college, it's becoming your job essentially. But all my teammates were from the Caribbean, from Africa, and my teammate who was my roommate, who was from Trinidad, and just realizing how much of it was a religion outside. Because here it was just, it was your typical after school, soccer mom, you did it because you could type of thing. But when you started realizing, this thing shapes countries, politics, religions, that's when I was like, this game is kind of dope. And then, similar to what Kurt said, as far as like, the professional team aspect, when I was in high school, I would go to the Barnes Noble looking for 442 magazine, Soccer America, looking to see, players that looked like me. I always saw, Andy Cole, Dwight York, and I was like, these brothers, they put up these trophies. I was like, okay. And then I was like, this Manchester United team, and they got the best goalkeeper in the world too. Oh yeah. So that's when it all started. So around like the mid '90s, that's when I started to be obsessed about the game.
Elastic.
I actually have a different story. I first got put into soccer really goes back to the 1990 World Cup. Saw the local match house looking at the World Cup, had a picture in Sports Illustrated. I was like, what's that? And then, of course, I heard right after that the World Cup's coming here in 94. Followed that and everything, heard about MLS starting in 96. I remember watching in my room, it was a Friday night, watching San Jose Clash versus DC United. And I pretty much have followed ever since. I kind of got out of it probably like towards the end of high school. And then the 06 World Cup came. I think that World Cup just kind of was like a flashpoint for a lot of people. And like really just seeing the overall passion for the game. And like, I'm a bit of a nerd. And like, what caught my eye was just seeing like how they were able to bend passes and everything, shots. Because I was like, my first sport was baseball. And I was like, I know how you can do that with a baseball when you throw it and everything. It blew my mind how you can do it with your foot, because it's a whole different type of math there. Like, I went down the rabbit hole. Of course, I already was aware of Man United before this, so like that was already like my team by default, going back to the Eric Cantona Nike commercial. Pocket Collar from Justice, man. But yeah, like ever since that, I just went down the rabbit hole, and like I'm still digging. It's been like 18 years now. Yeah.
Okay, awesome answer. Thank you very much, y'all. All right. So the next question we have is, what has your experience with soccer been like in Atlanta? This great old city. Who wants to go first?
Eesh. How long we got?
You want to go?
Right.
Oh gosh, that's layered. I mean, it's crazy. Like, obviously, this weekend we had the She Believes Cup here, and it's like all this pandemonium. It's like you get all this coverage, you get all these activities, you get all these celebrations, you get all these activations. And it's dope. It's beautiful to see. But it's so funny that these people just moved to the city and realized, like, oh yeah, that's a soccer town. They got the headquarters. It wasn't like that for the longest. Yeah, I mean, like for the longest, we clearly have been a football town. Whether it be from Falcons to UGA, even back to the '90s when Georgia Tech actually. You forget Georgia Tech.
Why you gotta do that? See, that was like you did that on purpose to try me. Go ahead.
That's factual. But no, we were known as a football town, and soccer always played the red stepchild of the city, and we're just now starting to see benefits of that. We all know that it's no coincidence that Atlanta United's success has been a huge part of which why now soccer in the city has been like embraced. And I think Atlanta United, like obviously we thought the name was corny at first because it's another United team, but it did unite the city because it's the first time you had a team where even people moving to the town could claim it as their hometown club. And at the same time, like United is smart in embracing the hip hop culture, whereas other clubs in the city were very hesitant. Still,
Yeah, big time.
to do. And so with that piece, I think that's when we realized that like soccer is actually cool. And obviously we see the fashion aspect too. Like we got our jerseys on and everything like that. We definitely know that Atlanta known as a black city. If you got fashion tied in it, you definitely going to have a huge impact. So I think that recently we're starting to see the benefits of it, but it has been a long journey. We still got a long way to go. But I guess to say that like it's don't forget where we came from. It's that like there was a huge mountain to get over this football thing and basketball thing. Not to say there's any disrespect. I'm not saying, but we still know that like at the end of the day, who's packing the stadium 75K up in that stadium and everybody's standing?
Yeah.
Win or loss type of thing. And whereas I know when Falcons
Folk to go to their seat.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
you ain't
It's
got
a whole
to ask.
different vibe.
There's two teams that play out of that building,
Right.
and one of them got to ask folks to go to their seat. That's how it is. So I think another piece to it is, I know for me personally, I think these guys were free. Culturally, it's Atlanta, it's our city. And so there's no way it was going to show up and be something and not be black, in a sense. I was going to be in there, we put our face in the camera, they're going to know, like, we here. It's all of us. If United is going to be one thing, but it's going to be Atlanta first and foremost. So I think that was important to us and why we were so on the ground level at different points in United coming, soccer coming, because again, it was United that helped launch a lot of other things that were in the city, started in the city, and have branched out since then. So I think it was always important for us as just growing up here. Like, I own what the city represents, the history of it, the legacy of it, and I want to make sure that it's infused and represented at every level, at every stage possible. So
Can we also make sure this woman gets her flowers too?
Yes.
That's her role in this.
Yes.
This woman.
We are here for flowers.
She's been instrumental in that. To make sure that the culture is represented in all aspects.
I think that and Curtis could probably allude to this as well. Like when I got involved with when I was more so on the supporter side of things, like of course we were kind of like pretty much at the ground level. And I think at least with me, I wanted to make sure that we were represented, because I've seen a lot of teams elsewhere where it's like you go to games and like we're kind of like the flies in the milk, basically, where it's like you might have a little sprinkling here and there of us, but not really like a whole real contingent. And this was like an opportunity, at least I saw, where it's like, hey, we don't know where everybody's at, but if nothing else, when they show up, they're going to see me, they're going to see Curtis, they're going to see Vera, they're going to see Anya, they're going to see us, and be like, hey, that might be a place where I can actually be an openly open soccer fan, basically, because in so many other places it doesn't feel like we're embraced like that. And I know, like when I remember when Curtis and Stephen came through Brew House with that big yellow flag, and I was like, what is this? And of course I saw that more. I was like, that's what's up. And it's been great seeing their group grow, all the groups grow, and of course see a space where we've been able to show our flavor for the game. And it's been great.
Yeah, for me, it's been as a supporter and the weird confluence of events with Atlanta as a brand. In Atlanta United, you have like post '96 hip hop culture, where Atlanta has pretty much had a 30-year lock on having heavy hip hop representation. You have the brand of Atlanta with companies moving here, so you have all this money here. Then you have Arthur Blank deciding he wants a soccer team in that stadium that's huge. It's technologically got the dome that actually works. You have all those things that come together, and then you have this notion of, like Greg said, you've got all these Black people here who are going to games, and not only are we just going. Like, I was the president of a supporters group. Fear had a position as supporters group. People are doing things and visibly doing. We're not just like, check off, we got a Black man, check off, we got a Black woman in the stands. Make sure you zoom on them a couple times, and we're good. It's they are integrated into everything. They're meeting with the team president. They're meeting players, and people know their names. And behind us comes people go, oh, I can be a fan of this. Wait, I can be involved. Wait, I can run this, and it builds on itself to where you have now generations of people who come behind us and can replace us and do better than us because they didn't have the limitations we may have had. They can just go and do.
Those answers are amazing. Again, I'm also going to give Vera flowers one more time because that's what we do on our show. Woo! That's what we do. We always celebrate Black women. We celebrate you all, but obviously our focus is on celebrating Black women. I'm going to combine the next two questions because I know, again, we are on a time crunch, but I want to get this answered. So first part is, so we've talked a lot about soccer culture and it's focused a lot on men's soccer. But you mentioned this weekend, She Believes Cup will be here. So first part is, what do you hope this weekend does for the culture in this city in terms of women's soccer? And then two, overall, what do you think, or what is your hope with the U.S. headquarters of the league to Fayetteville? How will you combine, like, what you do for the culture and hopefully maybe some influence from what U.S. soccer does going forward? Who wants to?
I'll
Take
jump
that.
on it a little bit. But we've already got footprints at the headquarters. So I've already been reached out from U.S. Soccer, and we did a welcome home tifo for them back in December. They know who we are. We know that we're gonna be in the building, like, for sure. I think this event this weekend is an extension of that growth. Everybody here knows the U.S. national women's team. That is the squad. That's 4 stars right there. So there's a pride, there's a level there that, you know, that you're not getting a second tier. This is the tier. And so that excitement is built there. I know a lot of us have made the trip up to Nashville several times to see them because that's the closest they've been. I was at the last time they played at the Dome. So knowing that energy and just seeing them in this new space with this new revival of energy in the city, we're very, very, very excited on what it's going to be. And again, it's the next level. I mean, it's Atlanta taking over on a national stage, but now you're talking about the national stage taking on a global stage. I mean, we host the Olympics, so we know what it's like to see the world come through. So we got them coming through again. It's only right that we start with our home team and showing them that hospitality. I mean, seeing them practice at the United facilities, and, you know, that's their house right now. So it, you know, we just, you know, like most things Southern, don't welcome them with open arms, want them to feel comfortable and come back now. So that's the energy I think we're going to give them as a city. And I know as a fandom, I mean, part of AO, so we got big things to celebrate and show that, you know, we are excited that you are here. We are proud that you were here. We're proud to see who is representing us on this go round, and we just hope that they feel that. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I guess I'll take a stab at it. I think we also see that, like, the representation on the field is amazing. Like, we all can't wait till it's 11.
Listen,
All out. We know it's
I could win with a start 11 right now. Let me go.
Right now, we know that they feel full 11 side is representing the diaspora, and we know they will kick butt, right? You know? But that's a huge step, right? We know it's a huge step, and it's not to be overlooked. I think the part that I always, you know, it's the bitter black man in me, is that making sure that we're still having representation in all levels of this. So not just what's on the field, because we know they'll have us out the field, but who's actually at that table? You said y'all were in the building, but who are at those tables?
Yeah.
Who are in those boardrooms? Who are those coaches pulling the strings? Who are those directors who are picking the talent? Who are those scouts who are going? So that's the thing that, you know, I'm kind of like, let's see how this goes, type of thing. Because we know that what we have shown as far as representation on the field, that there's no doubt about it that we can perform, but we also know that intellectually and skills wise that we have that as well too. So hopefully that, you know, the headquarters being here and known as the Black Mecca of the US, that they're also scouring these local aspects of what is available to them as far as all aspects. So, and I mean, that also again attracts that talent from out in parts, you know, other cities as well. So that's the thing that I'm hoping really kind of transpires as far as the headquarters being here next. But I think it is a beautiful thing to celebrate this weekend. Pretty much an all black team.
I hope that they use this as an opportunity to kind of do a little bit of a PR glam up, because I feel like, especially the past couple of years, like they've kind of walked into some black eyes, and I think that, like this is a hub for media and entertainment. And I feel as though there's an opportunity there to kind of go outside the box for what they're used to, whether it be as far as content goes, whether it be things that they do out in the community and everything. And because again, like Atlanta's a super diverse city, and not to say that Chicago wasn't, but I feel like here you see the diversity everywhere. Like where we are right now, hub of diversity. And I hope that they use this as an opportunity to, do something that involves the community, involves the city, hopefully do better with the credentials. But just say like, hey, like we are turning a new leaf. We are turning a new page as far as like what does the face of U.S. soccer looks like, whether it's from men and women, all the youth teams, all the extended teams, everything, and be like, this is something that this belongs to you as well. And hopefully they reach out and say that, hey, we want you to be an active part of this.
Okay, so that's actually a good lead into our next questions. I'm gonna combine them. So what do you think can bring more Black fans to the game of all ages? But then also, what would you like to see in terms of the sport, or to be the game atmosphere, like incorporating our culture into what you get on a game day experience? Or what you already do.
I think the best way to get more Black fans involved in Atlanta United or soccer in general is simply two things. One, affordable tickets, which of all the big five sports, soccer is still relatively affordable, but also letting the Black community know this is the sport where you can turn up and be as extra as you want. And not only is it okay, it is welcomed. Everybody wants to see it. And they're like, oh, they do that in Atlanta? Oh, okay. And it will open doors for everybody just by turning up and being you. You don't have to do anything extra but be you and be as loud as you want to be as rowdy as you want to be. All those things you want to do at an NFL game. That's all. Can you sit down, please? I can't see. Everything at the NBA games because you went to a game in Oklahoma City, they're like, oh, we don't do that here. Or anytime you go to a Braves game out in Cocktail, you're like, I'm not going there because I'm not driving back after dark. Ooh. All those things you can now do at an Atlanta United game. I think that alone is an attraction. And then other than that, just come to the tailgate, come by for the post tailgate. Just come and be around people, and you'll see that community is there more than other sports, and it's a super welcoming community that wants you there to do those things.
Yeah, I definitely piggyback off that. I know so many people who, in my own personal circle, they see like, Aaron, you be down there doing all what? Will you be all over the thing? Like, yeah, listen, we having a good time. I'm telling people like, we got a new women's volleyball team called the Vibe.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
they're doing well, and they playing in Gwinnett, so make it ride because it is worth it. But the Vibe originated at Atlanta United games and in that soccer culture because they let us do it. It was organic. It was authentic. Like I can remember when we did We Ready, and all of a sudden it's on every commercial across every sport because it started here. That's that influencer culture that Atlanta just does naturally. That wasn't a force, and you can see when it feels inauthentic. When it's natural, it's just us. But you know how we do. When we show up and can be us, beautiful things happen. So again, in my community and people see I always making an open door. Come, I will find a ticket for you. I promise you it'll be a cheap ticket anyway, but if I got to figure it out, I just need you to feel it and understand it. I think some people get apprehensive because it's like, I don't know nothing else. You don't need to know. Once you're in there, that energy will just make you more engaged about it. And soccer has that feeling. It's like when you see kids just, kicking a ball around, dribbling. You get in a circle and kick, you may not have the accuracy there, but you can still participate in a way. It's the same energy as being a fan coming into the building. And as you see it and see what's possible of it, that intrigue, I think anybody can watch it and be like, okay, but watching it and feeling it is two different things. Being in those buildings, having this atmosphere, feeling it will take you to a different level with it. And I think that's important for U.S. soccer to understand. And in having it here, that's on us to make sure that's felt tomorrow from that perspective. So
I hope the vibe is played like, girl, you know you got that vibe.
You got it. Wow.
We did awesome chant.
No kidding.
That would be an awesome chant.
they played with it. So now they got that vibe. Yeah, but then on that court, I'm telling you, girl, women, they are amazing.
Went to that Rockville team arrives.
Well, let me add to what was said as far as like I hope that both from the Lane 9 side and from the national team side are intentional about like advertising,
Come on now.
activations and everything like that. Like they know that they can get away with advertising in Cobb County, the Woodstocks and all that stuff. Like that's but like I'm serious, like you know what I mean, barbershops I've been to where they actually have a Lane United like flags up.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The Lane United, like they do their whole like flags. Like, y'all got your flags out. We coming by. Are they stopping by the barbershop? I can't read.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So like, be intentional about that because if you're doing those efforts, then best believe that community will show up. They're like, oh shit, I got this Lane United scarf at the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that they're going down. You have your headquarters out there, but you better stop holding that L. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be intentional about this. So I think that's the part that I hope both of them are not scared to do that because they're going to go with the low hanging fruit. They all go low hanging fruit, the Cobb counties, the easy work. But make sure that you're going into those communities where
Go to Greenbrier.
we know
Greenbrier.
all literally from southwest Atlanta to southeast Atlanta. There's a whole
East
portion
Point.
of kids playing soccer that are going to overlook. We call it the donut hole of youth soccer because nobody is doing anything with it. They just ignore it. But if you look at that donut hole, there's so many kids who are playing. And why not? You want to talk about low hanging fruit? That's low hanging fruit. You got kids who are interested. You try and get that generational impact. Why aren't we doing those things to get them in the barbershops, getting them, at their courts? There's courts that they freaking built that nobody's using. Why aren't we activating those spaces? But yeah,
Before I get going.
Like, I remember we did certain TiVos that a certain show, all of a sudden, they second season, every episode, they had an Atlanta United call out.
Sure did.
Whether it was in a bar, it was on the TV, whether it was in the barbershop and it was on the side of the wall, whether it was on a hat.
they were intentional about it.
They saw us see them and saw us back. That again came from us, and I agree with Tony. Is the call out to making sure these clubs, the hires are not overlooking it because they get in that pub without doing the work.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call that out. I'm with you. I'm on my social.
I nominate R. Anthony Carter for U.S. Soccer Player.
Who's that?
Come on. I mean, I was listening to him talk. I'm like, so JT was at the practice earlier today. Let's talk about it. So I actually got a follow-up question. So what do you think it would take to get people who are more seasoned, not just the young generation, because it's like the problem with women's soccer, you market it to girls, boys, but you got grown-ups who buy tickets. So what do you think could get people our age, younger age? Let me look at, because I see people like look, for us more seasoned people, but anybody, like teenagers, adults wanting to come to the game. Because the part of the marketing, because it's not catering to Black people or other cultures, people don't feel included. What do you think could bring people into the space?
Oh, let me jump in real quick.
Yeah. Let's go.
So what I got for this is, one, you cannot hire a Gen Z marketing person and expect them to speak the same vocal language as someone who's millennial, even Gen X especially, even older. It's too far apart. So you have to find somebody who can talk to the audiences that you're trying to reach. And then they can't be scared to go to Old National, to go to East Point, to go to College Park. They need to go. And as someone who grew up in East Point, you know when somebody's like trying to come in, get out. You see it every election season during church. Somebody shows up and I'm like, oh, I'm here for your vote. Well, where were you last week and last month and last year? Oh no, it's just election season. I show up. Because once things go bad, that's when you turn to our communities and say, hey, you should show up for this for cheap tickets. It's like, I have the money. I can afford the tickets. You haven't advertised towards me. So stop being scared of my community, people who look like me, people who live where I live, and trying to hope that we hear about it at work, we see it on TV, or our kid begs us to go. You have to be actually intentional and being fearless of your neighbor. Like, don't let next door fool you and think everybody's a threat. You gotta actually, like you said, go to the barbershop, go to the beauty shop. Every Black woman I know when she goes to the beauty shop, she's there for 3 to 4 hours.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got a captive
It's a
audience.
process. And you can't it's more than 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes it's
Whole
therapy.
day.
Sometimes
Whole day.
it's the demo.
Even with
Like,
locks.
I was there last week, so I had a mom to go to. So it was good for me.
Like, did you see Midge Person's hair? Midge's hair looks, I bet that look really, and just
Too soon, bro. Too soon. Why you bring that up?
to get Midge Purse on an NWSL team in Atlanta. So this is just me.
Okay.
Well,
So-
hold that thought.
Hold
Hold that thought.
Tilly, so go ahead and go ahead and
Yo.
Wait, we got a question from the audience. Wait, well, actually,
Can I reach?
well, I don't know. Don't pull nothing crazy. Don't do nothing crazy.
What's your name?
I do like what y'all are saying, like what Atlanta should do to attract more Black people into the sport. As a person of myself who is a first generation African American, my dad's Cameroonian, so it's practically born in that sport. I mean, of course, as a Chelsea supporter, a lot of Chelsea
Just had to
supporters,
throw that one in there. Okay.
a lot of Chelsea fans are Black, especially the ones in West Africa, due to the fact that we had some of the best African players that ever played on the team, pretty much making us African Cup of Nations heritage. Whenever I'm at barbershops or anything, they ask me about, isn't soccer like a white man's sport or whatsoever? I said, no, it's not. Some of the best players I've seen play were Black and of African descent. And most of them play for the French team or the English team, some Spanish, maybe a little bit German, but most of the time they played for African teams. And I say, look at those players. Look at a Didier Drogba. Look at a SCN. Look at a Thierry Henry. Look at Tim Howard when he played for Everton. There's also Eto'o. Yeah, of course. I try not to say Eto'o, but yeah, Eto'o was amazing in Barcelona, playing with Ronaldinho and eventually Messi.
Thank you for that. So part of why I said hold that thought.
Just had to throw in Chelsea.
I mean, I'm feeling united.
Hey, wait, talking to the mic, because if he wanna, let me hear you. Talking to the,
Okay, sorry.
let him say this into the mic.
Yes, so thank you for that. And my question, I said hold that thought earlier. So right now, the NWSL currently has 14 teams, and a 15th team has been announced in Boston for 2026. Jessica Berman, commissioner of the NWSL, said that by the end of this year, they will pick a 16th team. Make a pitch for Atlanta, baby.
Let's go.
What else we need to do?
Well,
Like, you doubted us when you said you're gonna do it down here. Well, we got everything moving down here. What else we need to do? This is the place to do it. If you want to launch anything to expand, especially here in the South, it needs to start in Atlanta. It's a capital for us.
I think you look at just the effect that Atlanta had on MLS. I mean, because I don't think without Atlanta, you don't have Charlotte starting up. I don't think you have Nashville starting up. I think that just like the residual effect of the impact of Atlanta just shows you that it creates even more business. So whether it's just the direct impact of Atlanta itself or potential business elsewhere, it's like, why would you not come here? And I think that it's something that is very unique to the fabric of the soccer culture in America as a whole, where we bring something very unique.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Someone
know
who's
where you go.
born and raised here, we saw that there's been various attempts prior. You know, how many times we had Atlanta beat 3 times?
Yeah, 3-4 times.
You know, but here's how many times we've had a hockey team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is another thing that they're trying to. But no, I know that that's always going to be the counter argument. The argument is that, oh no, y'all had those chances and you didn't secure it back. And you know, there's always a timing piece for this, of course. And my counter statement to that is the fact that, like, all right, so I'll look at my daughter in the audience right now. She's currently a soccer player, and the club she plays for is the number 2 club in the whole country. So it's a women's club only, so girls club only. So the fact that, like, that club alone is producing talent, and that these young ladies do not have a professional team to aspire to play for locally is missing so many opportunities.
Just imagine. Yeah. That story. That's that story of like, hey, I started playing in Kennesaw area, and I went from that to playing to the Benz. Like, who would not love that?
No, they get their own separate stadium.
Let's go.
Listen, I know some
We can probably
places
beat
not
you.
too far, and it could use some reviving.
Yeah,
That
right
happens to
on.
be right over
You talking about Harvard?
Yes.
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 Harvard Stadium, because actually that's where I saw a beat game back in the day.
Yes.
But it was a lot of white people.
But
They need
again,
culture.
what I said, timing.
Revamp
piece.
it.
The timing piece is that we have seen, again, the success of Atlanta United was done with the culture here. And it can clearly be, I don't want to say copy and paste, but we know we're going to show up and show
Blueprint's
out.
there.
And we know that it's like, all right, that's not the white kids. We know, because I mean, I grew up with that. I was called the white kid
Yup.
for playing the game. And now we know that, like, yeah, that's out there. We know that it's still out there. When I go to the barbershop, yeah, like you stated, it's still a thing, but it's not as much as a thing. And so the other argument I would say, all right, so we see that they raised us with Boston, right? And we're going to call them on that because we know that Boston has, like, they don't want black people in that city.
Them, and they don't want them there.
So we the counter statement to that, like, come on, stand up.
Yeah.
The black city, you know, the counter. That's my little
Yeah.
joking one.
You gonna run from it, or you gonna come for it? Like it's here for you.
And
And
I'm
I'm gonna,
Boston, by the way.
yeah, always.
All the way back.
I'm gonna speak to it even more, just from a female perspective. The Atlanta Dream is one of the most successful franchises in Atlanta. People don't want to talk about it, but they've been to the final several times.
Ooh.
Tell it.
You know,
In spite of ownership.
and spite
And
of
beyond just on the court,
and
what the
beyond-
change they made.
Exactly. So seeing the representation, even so, who we have going up there interviewing and talking to the ladies from the Dream perspective, from the woman's perspective, from the black woman's perspective. Here in Atlanta, there's a space for it. Even so, as they've made improvements and they're rebuilding themselves, they found a space that accommodates the energy and the framework they wanted to put out there. And they've been extremely successful. So there is a foundation here. There's opportunity for leadership, ownership here. I know there's the idea of moving it on the 400 side of things again, but we ain't got to talk about it. We need to find the right people and stakeholders to help build that here. I think the proper way is another part and piece of that too. Not just, oh, Atlanta, but then we'll just put it up 400 again or up 85 again. No, there's still opportunity to keep it here in the city and to keep it surrounded by the culture whole so it don't get out of grips.
Yeah, I was having a conversation last night, matter of fact, and I like Herndon would be good. Like if you can't do the bins, buy up Herndon and just turn that thing up because
To me, it's got to be the Benz for the long view Atlanta historical sports failure reasons. The beat played up in Kennesaw and in Herndon, and people didn't
And
go
the
to
Cap Memorial Stadium.
and DeKalb Memorial Stadium, and they didn't do well. You had the Atlanta Attack who played in the Omni. You had both hockey teams that played in Omni/Trucks Arena but were treated as second-class citizens by their own owners. More so than location, even though location is a big part of it, you need the ownership that's going to take it seriously. Atlanta United worked because Arthur Blank took it seriously and spent the money on it.
The best for the best.
Yeah. And if you don't have an owner, I don't want an NWSL owner in Atlanta who is going to just do it just to go, look at what I did. I put a sport here and wants the vanity of it.
Yeah.
I want championships. I want rings. I want parades. And I think that has to be a part of the equation. And putting an NWSL team in the bins, if not a purpose-built specific stadium that has all the bells and whistles somewhere centrally located, you are not making that statement of, I want to be a part of the fabric of this community of Atlanta and of the soccer community. And then past that, you also have to look at who you're, like you said, putting in the boardroom, who's going to be coaching, who's going to be your technical staff, who's going to be on the field. You have to line all those things up for it to be successful, not only in and of itself, but to have any sort of penetration into the city. That is what, the number 2 city for Black wealth in the country? And you telling me you can't make money with a women's soccer team here? It's a license to print money.
And that's the thing here. Like part of the reason why United works so well is because they gave the energy, like, we're taking this seriously from the jump. I remember very vividly when the team was first announced in 2014.
It's only 10 years ago next week.
Yeah. I didn't take it all that serious. I was just like, okay, because at that point I didn't know like what type of energy they were going to give. But then I remember just going to the event when they announced the name, and I was just like, the presentation. I was like, oh no, they're taking this seriously. I could tell already from the jump. Like, you can just tell from like how other teams had done their presentation and how we did it here. I was like, I already knew. But that was even before they even hired Tata, even before they hired signed Tito Villalba. I was like, they're serious. And like for the women, I think like you have to do the same thing because like there's such. I'm saying this as an outsider looking in. Like, I feel like a lot of sports fans here that I was talking about on the radio, like how the fan base here is very jaded, like, dealing with the Braves over the years, dealing with the Falcons over the years. I feel like, like people, it takes a lot for fans to kind of just take a team on. And I feel like Atlanta United did that. And say, hey, we will give you the energy that you need to know that we're taking this seriously. And I feel like when the women come here, it has to be the same thing. Otherwise, they'll be like, yeah, we see it, but we're not with it. So they have to come correct.
All right. Are we gonna have a Nuck if you book chant?
We got it. It's already there. So it's just, you got to get the people to feel it. Now, if I start,
Hey, let's talk.
Some
I'm
folks
ready.
do it.
Actually, we'll talk to you. We gonna have a conversation.
we can't. Let's talk.
Well, let's
Chop it.
because I need the xylophone, and then I need some cards. And we about to do it.
Okay.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm here for a xylophone. I like things to
See,
start.
don't encourage.
Don't encourage.
Don't look at me like that, Alex.
Don't
You have a
encourage.
xylophone.
Don't
All right,
encourage.
wait, but is the coach gonna lose that song too? Just like we lost last
Oh.
Hey, man, don't get up and down.
time. Lost flag serve. It's gone.
Now I'm gonna speak on something. It's a fine line. It's a fine line because,
Very.
and because this is personal. This is something you're gonna see that my energy is behind tomorrow. You gotta know you gotta know your spaces you're going into. You gotta know the reach, but you also gotta still know yourself. So the choices you can make. Now, here in Atlanta, Nuck Buck is the second national anthem, and we understand that it can get going. You go real quick, but we also got to know how, if we wanted to carry who we also are talking to and trying to channel with. Some of them, they ready with us, but not everybody is. So we can do it, and we just got to understand we're still in spaces. But not to say we dilute ourselves, but you just got to know you in spaces.
Let me jump in real quick here because this is one of my things is people will bend backwards to learn chant in other languages.
See,
And then you say, can we get Nuck if you buck? That's literally like four words, couple syllables. I can't do that rhythm. Like, I just heard you sing in perfect Spanish, Italian, and German. Yet Nuck if you buck is vexing you.
Hold on. I got a story for that.
They don't want to say that anymore. That's why.
We went to
Memphis 901.
Memphis 901's first game when they started playing in USL, and we actually managed to get on the campo stand or dugout on the at the stadium, and we were told them they wanted to do be ready, but of course they had that same energy. It was like, we don't know how to do it. That like it's 4 words.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
And but like we say, like with our podcast, like the culture's real, the culture's everywhere. But like the thing about it is, the culture is different. What works in Atlanta might not work for Memphis. What works for Memphis might not work for Chicago. But at the same time, each city has their own flavor, and I think it's super important that you incorporate the culture into that. Whether it's Chief Keef, whether it's 3-6, whether it's Future, it's like all of that. It's
Trick Daddy.
Yeah.
Who's the best Atlanta artist right now, though? I feel like Future's kind of old, honestly.
Like whoever works at that particular time, if there's a hot song that you can flip into. Because like the one thing about the English that like honestly kind of trips me out is how they can turn any song into a chant like it's nothing. I feel like we should be doing the same thing. But I want to do one quick thing. I know we short on time with the spirit. I know like as a member of AO Atlanta and someone who's Dr. T put like, what we got to look forward to tomorrow?
there will be representation.
That's all black everything.
Majority.
Okay, let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
More than 50%.
Again, and first rule, don't talk about it. But again, I understand the space this is going in. I understand the timing of what this is going in, but also know who's going in. We are on this thing. We are majority on this thing, but it is housed in a space that you might have your own feelings about, but it will make sense. It will make sense.
I'm gonna do it this way. Or go ahead.
Are there any other things happening tomorrow?
They got the tailgate and all these other festivities and whatnot happening over, I guess it's Centennial and stuff. I'll be up.
Well, we'll be out there.
Yeah, we're gonna be outside.
We might be emceeing the tailgate.
Hey, there we go. So,
I just found out.
if that's the case, then nothing buck is a guarantee.
Yeah, that's what we're adding to the playlist.
That's on the plate. It's happening.
It's happening. You're going to the tailgate because there's gonna be interesting things. Because me and Sills are emceeing.
So found out.
It's okay. Good care. We gonna do it.
Listen,
We gonna bring Shea Butter vibes to
I'm gonna
the
pull back from the question we have. So I remember vividly we was having one of the Atlanta United marches, and Reggie, who was a legend, one of our friends, our comrades, is the lead cap of the footy mob. And he was just kind of stepping himself back, and I kept pushing him up to the front. We want to implement. We can be as frustrated when it don't go through, or when we see them do it and be like, season it. But you can't let that, like, the seasoning, you gotta, pull your hot sauce out, put some on it. We know that. We have to keep being at the forefront. Even when you see it happening and it hurts your spirit, keep doing it. Because as much as it hurt or they couldn't get me ready, it's there. It's something we do before every match, and we're gonna do it for every match. You gotta keep throwing it down their throat till they be like, okay, I figured out how to digest it. It's gonna take them a while, but I ain't gonna stop feeding it to them. So that's how I feel about being in these spaces, making sure I'm always seen. And, you know, I had to take my own personal breaks, but when I stepped back, I saw that the lack was there. And I didn't have nobody else to blame for myself, because I knew if I ain't there, not too many folks gonna be there. And not too many of us is gonna feel like I can come back or I can be in that space. So I had to make it a point to be seen and shown and yell and do it. When that chant come on and everybody ain't doing it, I'm the loudest one looking at them like, what the hell's wrong with y'all? Why y'all ain't doing it? Like, come on. And, you know, showing them how to do it, at least doing it. You still got to be an advocate for what you want to see in the space. So that is important. And that's going to be important with United. It's going to be important with USA. That's going to be important at World Cup. So every step of it, we have to make sure that we're stepping up and being a voice, and the voice we want to hear in spaces.
Choosing fours, y'all. Choosing fours.
They don't. It's a journey.
It's hard though. It really is.
They don't. It's not in them spiritually.
We have a remedy for that, but we will
You
talk
just
about
can't
it.
find
We're
one
having a
person to hug after, and then you go.
So since we cover again women's soccer here, and this has been a fantastic conversation, we are going to wrap up and with respect to everybody's time. Obviously, we talked about making your pitch for an NWSL team. So alongside Mitch Purse, because that's clearly the face of the team that y'all want. Who is another player that you would want to come to it?
Lord James.
Ooh, that's all right.
Actually,
She's gonna get in trouble here, but all right.
Sorry, TK.
I know it's gonna be tough, but some.
Ooh, y'all going international? I wasn't ready.
I mean, it's okay. Let me switch that.
No, I'm
No, for international, Salma, easy. As far as domestic, I know it's gonna be hard, but I'll give you two: Naomi Gurma, and if by some miracle we can get her, Trinity.
Yeah. All right.
Trinity's my number 2.
Okay.
She's my number 2 pick. Number 1 pick is probably Katarina.
Yeah.
How did Atlanta also get
Yeah.
in a lot of trouble? Sorry, Kat.
I'm a big fan of her game, though.
Yeah, she's a good piece.
I'm a big fan of her game, so that would be my ideal number 1 pick. But Trinity number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my top 3 is Cat, Midge, and Trinity. And
Trinity's perfect for this city.
She got the energy. Huh?
Listen,
She got the energy.
Trinity's perfect. She was just
Every
Sorry, DC fans. Sorry.
every picture
She's gonna be a
is
freak.
she's throwing it up.
Trinity's perfect for this city.
Uncle Shaq got a house you can stay
Right,
in.
right.
Yeah.
Can I make one here? Can I make one plug for her new homie and I guess roughly the hometown girl and Corey Bethune?
Yeah, Corbin Bethune.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
If you haven't been watching Washington Spirit, look at
yes.
Cory
Corey,
Bethune.
yes.
She's from Alpharetta, but she can get in perimeter program.
It's called Metro.
I see.
That's where you can come.
But yeah, Croy, yeah, Croy.
That way.
Hey, bring both of them around.
Oh,
Yeah, I would agree with like Trinity is the one. And I'm already saying she on the team. I mean, say
That's
what
one that
she
makes
on.
sense.
'Cause, come on.
I like it. I like everybody went domestic, also international. People respect that. Okay, we're gonna.
Wait. So there was a question on.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, we still alive. We still alive,
my
baby.
bad. Alex asked about. A question for Scott. How do I feel about incorporating the Black Yeehaw agenda into the sport?
Oh my God. Okay. She's on Cowboy Carter.
Wow.
Okay, y'all can leave. All right. So what was the question again?
How can we incorporate the Black Yeehaw agenda into the sport?
Now listen.
Oh, you got to get
Let's go. We gonna have a talk.
I put looks together every match.
Yes, she does.
Are you trying to say we should expect something tomorrow?
We got
Are you keeping that hidden? Is that
I
true?
put looks together every match.
So we should be ready tomorrow. Is what
Yes,
you
she
think?
should.
Is it tomorrow?
Coming up?
I put looks together.
One more time. Say it again.
I put looks together for every match. And if I had time, there'd be a whole new look to what I did this past week.
She had, the funny part was that she had the blocks wrapped up. I was like, she was going hard on the drums. I was like, yo.
I had my Easter bonnet. My hair was on. I took it out last night. So I'm like, this got to fly this weekend. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah, you know what that's like?
That's a
more
whole
deep
other
than the
podcast.
people.
See,
Yeah.
like, I cannot get anything.
We got hints of
Or
the
not
people.
over
We
here.
get no hint.
Or not.
I was gonna say, do y'all have anything? I mean, are there other things beyond this weekend that y'all are doing that y'all might want to shout out? Get y'all a chance. Shout out.
Oh, just in life.
No. I mean, well,
Don't just
Pray for me.
yeah. I always
It's hard out here, man.
Shout out to Ebony, shout out to NC State, both men's and women's Final Four this year. Because yeah, we're doing it this year. Doing it big.
We're taking the mills.
Hey. We might be able to beat Purdue. I don't know about South Carolina. I don't know. Hope for the best.
everybody's watching women's sports.
Yo, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
12.3 million.
And they have not not disappointed. It's been like above and beyond. Like it's been great.
It's much better
to watch.
basketball.
Men's game has been
Yeah, exactly.
all right. Well, so what we gonna do? So we're gonna wrap this up. So thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate you. Shout out to the Robert Woodruff Library
Thank you.
for hooking us up in the Atlanta University Center.
And from who?
Well, no, you're not calling. We can't. I just don't use my real name. What you doing? But thank you, doctor. Thank you to the people in the back. Say hey. Yeah.
Hey. Hey, we didn't get kicked out to the library.
We need to get that.
Last time I was in college,
See, that's another episode.
And if you did the AUC Library Services, the HBCUs, the Atlanta University Center, AUC. So that's a little history for y'all. So what we gonna do?
We're gonna stay hydrated.
We're gonna stay melanated, and we're gonna
Make sure that the Black women in your life are celebrated.
and we gonna make sure our Shea Butter bombs, which are goals, are always elevated. And we gonna say bye. Yay. See you tomorrow. Tailgate. We're gonna be there right early.
Super
Let's
early. Super early.
Thank y'all so
What
much.
you mean?
Yeah, I got
Wait, it's not over. What?
Hey, go. Just show up and
I'm excited about this.
Touch everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's real.
I love something.